News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. There's your closing bell for this Monday on Wall Street, where a rally in oil drove both stocks and bonds lower on concerns that an escalation of hostilities over the Strait of Hormuz will keep energy costs elevated, fueling global inflation risks. We also bring you the closing numbers. We do it each day here at Bloomberg. Let's check WTI right now. It has topped $105 a barrel. Brent crude just over $114 a barrel. The S&P 500 lost 29 points. NASDAQ down 46 points. The Dow down 556 points. That's more than 1%. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.43% and the 2-year yield at 3.95%. Paramount Skydance shares rose 2.4% in the post-market. The company reporting EPS below estimates and sales above estimates. Hedgeye Risk Management's analysts downgraded the stock. Palantir Technologies issued a stronger than expected revenue outlook for the year, sending its shares rising in late trading. Now shares of Palantir now down about 2% in after-hours trading. And the U.S. military says 2 American-flagged merchant ships have successfully transited the Strait of Hormuz, and that Navy-guided missile destroyers in the Persian Gulf were helping restore shipping traffic. Now, during a briefing, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper said the U.S. has opened a passage in Hormuz and that U.S. forces repelled missile and drone attacks. The military also denies Iran's claims to have struck an American Navy vessel. Wayne Sanders is a senior defense research analyst at Bloomberg Intelligence.
This is going to be one of the most highly contested areas of the Straits, is going to be that area because it is the most risky. Doesn't mean that you can't defend against it, but if you have a shoulder-fired missile, you have a lot less time to react to that strike and be able to knock it down before it actually would hit a ship.
Retired Colonel Wayne Sanders was a guest on Bloomberg Surveillance. Chevron CEO Mike Wirth at the Milken Global Conference says he's keeping a close eye on the Strait of Hormuz.
It sounded as if there were plans to try to establish a transit corridor. Now we've got these reports that there have been some kinetic activity in the region. I've been in touch with our people that manage our shipping assets in the region, and we remain concerned about the security of transit.
You can hear the full conversation with Mike Wirth on the Bloomberg Talks podcast. The Supreme Court has restored broad access to the abortion pill mifepristone. Bloomberg Supreme Court reporter Greg Storr on Bloomberg Intelligence.
It allows mifepristone, this abortion drug, to continue to be mailed to patients as it has been for years, at least temporarily.
The justices temporarily blocked last week's ruling that restricted access to the medication by mail, which is one of the main ways the abortion pill is provided across the country. The ruling, signed by Justice Samuel Alito, will allow women access to the pill through pharmacies or through the mail without an in-person visit to a doctor. The Supreme Court's order applies until May 11th to give the court more time to fully study the issue. The Justice Department asked a federal judge to vacate his ruling that threw out subpoenas issued to the Federal Reserve as part of the criminal investigation of Fed Chair Jay Powell. Now, this request is not intended to reopen the probe. It's a procedural step aimed at preventing that ruling from standing as a legal precedent that could work against the Justice Department in unrelated investigations in the future. The future of the investigation now turns on the Fed Inspector General's audit of the renovations, with U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro saying she would close the matter if the Inspector General finds no wrongdoing. Former New York Fed President Bill Dudley says outgoing Fed Chair Jay Powell's decision to stay on as a Fed governor will help reassure Wall Street and the public after President Trump's pressure campaign to lower rates.
The Fed has been under merciless attack from the president, and the Fed's independence is under question. And I think Powell thinks that by staying on the Fed, that's going to actually bolster the Fed's perception of the Fed's independence.
Powell's term as chair ends May 15th. Dudley, a Bloomberg opinion columnist, tells Bloomberg Surveillance that when Kevin Warsh steps in as chair, he will have opportunities to make changes. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has announced a wide-ranging investigation into potential antitrust violations by the meatpacking industry.
In the beef industry, the big four processors control over 85% of the beef processing market. Two of the big four are primarily foreign-owned. We prioritized investigating potential antitrust violations high concentration in the industry indicate anti-competitive activity.
Blanche says the Department of Justice has also reviewed more than 3 million documents in the probe investigating whether those companies engaged in criminal anti-competitive conduct, including price fixing, market collusion, or bid rigging among competitors. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris, and this is Bloomberg.